You probably remember this moment from the 2025 World Series. Bottom of the ninth, tie game, the Blue Jays are one run away from the first championship in over 30 years. Varsho hits a sharp grounder, and pinch runner Isiah Kiner-Falefa takes off to home, racing for glory. Rojas Fields throws home, and he's out by inches. Toronto's golden opportunity dies right there. But here's the thing, everyone blamed that short lead, the cautious base running, the don't get doubled off mentality. But that's not what cost them the game. It was this, the slide. Because if Kiner-Falefa made one tiny change here, history would have looked completely different. So, why did he slide? At first glance, it seems like the obvious move. Every player is taught to slide into home. It's almost instinct. Sliding helps you avoid tags, it keeps you low, and it's what you see in every dramatic play at the plate. But here's the thing. In this situation, there wasn't a tag. It was a forced play. The only thing that mattered was getting to the plate as fast as possible. So the question is, did that split-second decision to slide actually slow him down? Because if it did, and if it even cost just a few hundredths of a second, that might have been the difference between a World Series title and heartbreak. Okay, so if sliding potentially slows you down, then why do players do it at all? Well, sliding is about staying on a base safely. When a runner goes in chest up, the runner will overrun the base and maybe climb at the fielder. Sliding lets players stop their momentum at the exact spot of contact. It also helps avoid tags. By lowering their body, runners make themselves a harder target and can reach around or under a tag with their hand or foot. StatCast data shows that slides significantly reduce tag-out probability compared to upright approaches in close plays. There's also a rulebook factor. A runner who barrels into a fielder upright risks interference or injury, both for themselves and the fielder. Sliding has become the controlled way to protect both sides while still going close to full speed. Let's take a step back and look at the physics of moving through a base. We need to understand why track athletes don't dive through the line. It's a sport where hundredths of a second can be the difference between glory and heartbreak. Track athletes optimize every split second, and if diving were faster, they would do it. There's no rule stopping them, and it's not about pain or danger. Every race could be the most important of the season. Well, the fastest way across the finish line is not by diving or leaving your feet. It's by staying upright and striding through the line, and maybe a little bit of a lean. Olympic sprinters know this. When sprinters try to dive to the finish, it can give a tiny forward boost, but the moment your feet leave the ground, you start decelerating. Your body loses the ability to push off the ground, and friction from the track starts slowing you down. The same principle applies in baseball. Sliding into a base has advantages, but in a straight sprint to the base, leaving your feet actually slows you down compared to staying on your legs. Baseball players actually already know this, and this is why you'll never see players slide into first base. First base is a sprint, pure and simple. Runners want every fraction of a second, and sliding down will only slow them down. There's no tag, and there's no penalty for overrunning first. Everyone, from professional base runners to little leaguers, instinctively know how to maximize speed through a bag. It's about staying upright, maintaining momentum, and using every stride. Now that we have that out of the way, let's look back at the moment that actually cost the Blue Jays the championship. Kiner-Falefa slides, and in most situations, that's exactly what you want the runner to do. But this wasn't most situations. At home plate, with bases loaded, there was no tag, and no need to stop at the plate. Sliding slowed him down while offering no advantage. Every fraction of a second could count. In this circumstance, it actually did. Here's the hard truth. Kiner-Falefa made an inexcusable mistake, especially for a pinch runner. By sliding feet first, he lost a crucial final stride, and the friction between his legs in the dirt actively slowed him down. Every millisecond counted, and that tiny delay was enough to turn a potential World Series winning run into an out. Remember, any part of the body touching the home plate scores, so there's no need to stay low and not overrun. The irony, had he done that, the narrative of Game 7 changes entirely. Instead of celebrating Will Smith's legendary 11th inning home run, fans and analysts might have blamed him as the reason that the Dodgers lost the World Series. They would have looked at his foot coming off the plate and blamed him for the loss. A split-second decision, a tiny lapse in judgment, and suddenly a championship shifts, reputations are rewritten, and history is forever altered. Okay, so I've been pretty critical of Kiner-Falefa's slide, and honestly, it might have been an unexcusable mistake, but let's be clear, you can't pin an entire World Series loss on a single play. The World Series is a marathon, not a sprint. The Blue Jays had 7 games, 74 innings of baseball, and countless opportunities to take control. In Game 7 alone, they had multiple chances with runners in scoring position, and they couldn't cash it in when they needed. Even the best teams miss opportunities, and even the smartest players make split-second errors. IKF's slide was a pivotal moment, sure, but it was just one moment in a much larger story. That championship didn't hinge on him alone, it hinged on execution, decision-making, And yes, a little bit of luck across pivotal plays. So while we can analyze the physics and the split-second decision that cost a run, remember, baseball is a team game at the end of the day. If any player on the Blue Jays roster had done slightly better, even my GOAT Ernie Clement, they could have won. So it's unfair to pin the loss on IKF. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it here, please like and subscribe. It helps out so much for the algorithm, especially for a small channel like this one. See you in my next video.